Okay, so good news, we got MarsDAO up in here. Now let's try to see if we can hear them.
Hi, you hear me now?
Hello, hello. Yeah, perfect. Finally.
Finally. I'm just half an hour
Yeah.
past.
Yeah. Well, we're testing it out, so first time here on Twitter Spaces. So
I think
let's see
across all the
it is.
AMAs, all the streams that we've had throughout all our project, Twitter was the platform that sucked the most from technical standpoint. So
well, I mean, Twitter Spaces is still fresh, so hopefully they'll fix it up, patch it up a little bit.
Yeah, they're in beta.
Yeah. Well, while you're away, I did have the time to speak with the people and tell them a little bit about you.
I heard you throughout all the way.
Well, at least you were able to hear. Yeah. So they already know that we know each other basically outside of the Twitter Spaces, the Telegrams, and everything. We're actually close partners. And yeah, let's kick this AMA off because I think we're almost 30 minutes late. But thankfully we're here. Mm-hmm. So
is it gonna be mostly me asking you questions or you asking me questions? Just wondering.
I'll be asking you questions because our community doesn't really know much so far about you guys, but we really want them to know. I don't want it to be like a basic AMA with like, tell me about your products, how do they function, what is your advantage over competitors. But just to like introduce yourself, tell everyone a little bit about yourself and about MarsDAO as well, because I know you guys quite a bit. But I want everyone else to know as well.
So, nice to meet everyone. My name is Konstantin. I am the Chief Business Development Officer of MarsDAO ecosystem and also a close friend to the founders. I've been in crypto since 2017. I've seen a lot of stuff, a lot of things, survived the crypto winter very heavily. And during the crypto winter, we with MarsDAO, I mean, back at that time, MarsDAO was not MarsDAO as it is now. It started as a GameFi project to the moon back in 2018. But back then, there wasn't even the term GameFi. But we were already starting to build games on blockchain. They were kind of centralized because there was simply no way to make them. There was no Web3. There was no Web3 available. The term GameFi hasn't really even emerged back then, but we started with a very cool game. It was called To the Moon. This To the Moon, this abbreviation of To the Moon, you can see now up until this day everywhere where you see TTM when referring to us, to MarsDAO. So To the Moon is how it all started. It's like the magnum opus of our project, and we had a lot. We have started off a lot of blockchain startups, and right now MarsDAO is a multi-dimensional crypto. I would call it conglomerate, because conglomerate meaning that we are present in almost every realm of crypto that you know, starting from GameFi development, from bridges, from swaps, from DeFi to even real life products like, for example, TTM Academy, which goes from To the Moon, which is a very large and popular educational facility, online educational facility for Russian-speaking audience. Right now, we are moving very slowly, but we are moving towards embracing other languages as well. But in Russian-speaking community in the CIS, TTM Academy is one of the top online academies that teaches people crypto, and there are always lines for each new session. So there's also this board game that we have, TTM board game. I mean, I'm just trying to list all the projects and the products and which are already working that we have already. I have hard time listing them all. Not to mention, of course, the products that are under development and that are going to be released soon. So back to this board game, TTM board game is a very cool game, very much like a monopoly for crypto, for traders, for investors, that outlines basically the way any average crypto investor goes through, starting with the hypes, with believing that he can get rich very fast, then by dumping, losing all of his money, getting all those risks. We try to encapsulate all of those risks that are present in real life for an investor in this game, and people are really loving it. So I'm not pitching it. It's not cool because I'm pitching it. It's rather I'm pitching it because it is cool.
I think sorry to interrupt you, but I'll pitch it myself because I personally did receive the game. We played it. It was a lot of fun, and the game as well. It's fun because it really shows that you guys do have a lot of experience on the market. This is not like this crypto winter that we're surviving right now isn't your first ride. So you clearly seen seen the worst times too, and you guys are very experienced on the market. So that experience really translates to the board game that you basically provided to us as well. We played it with the team. It was a lot of fun, and it really does show the ups and downs of the person who is basically coming into this market. So it's sort of like learning as you play. So we loved it ourselves. And also I want to mention the TTM Academy because like I said before, people usually like do AMA sessions with the partners and they don't really know the partners. I personally do love the TTM Academy. I loved it so much. I did sign up my younger brother and my brother to it because they came to me and they told me, we want to learn about crypto. And I told them, here, go to the TTM Academy. You'll learn a bunch. So you guys really do have experience and it really shows with the products that you're putting out.
Yeah, so those were only, speaking of the TTM Academy, that's exactly the same thing that I do. Every time people who are outside of crypto, they come to me and say, Konstantin, could you please teach us a bit? I'm like, yo, here's the link, go sign up, because I trust those guys to speak to them. I mean, some of them are my friends, and I know that they are not trying to sell you shit. They're really trying to educate you with as less stuff to understand and to grab as possible, and to make it the most accessible way. And so those were just the real life products. Now I think one of the primary products that we have right now and that are under development and marketing and promotion are, let's start with the working one. So the first working one and the most popular, I guess, is the auto farm. I'm not sure whether your community knows about the auto restaking principle and the protocol, because some of them, I think they should know about it, because there was actually one auto farm before us. It was called Auto. The domain name was autofarm.net, but it was long ago, like almost a year ago, and it died out. Now it's dead in the water. But we have learned their experience and their history, what they have gone through. And so we found out what their mistakes were. This is pretty much basically how it all works in crypto every time. Because in crypto, there is no plagiate, there is no copying. People are just, there's forking, right? In crypto, we don't copy, we fork.
But it's also, it doesn't necessarily have to be like negative. Even with Bot Planet, I do have to say when people always ask like, why did we decide to do this? Because we were users, we saw a lot of flaws in other projects and wanted to do something better. And then I'm pretty sure in the future, a couple of young guys will see Bot Planet and other projects, they'll see some flaws with it and they'll try to create something new, but based on what they've seen in the past. So it's always how it works.
It's just natural sequence of events in crypto, I guess. A project grows, it then gets overpopulated or overwhelmed, then it starts to dry out, and the new young emerging products, they catch the space, they catch all the mistakes that were made, because mistakes are inevitable, right? You cannot, especially in crypto, in such a high risk environment as crypto, you cannot build a project without any mistakes. And so the circle goes on and on again and again, and we don't even know what's gonna be hype like in a year or two. So speaking of the auto farm is an auto staking platform where instead of just holding the tokens you believe in with one of the most popular on our platform, of course, being the GMT, native token of the Stepan project, who are also our close partners. We've been working together with them since, I guess, February, really leading our part, playing our part in promoting them in Russian-speaking community. And instead of just holding this token, you can stake it in the altruist staking platform. Like there are farms and farming pools. I guess most of your community knows what those things are and how money is made there. But just like Albert Einstein said, how do you say? The compound interest, the compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world, and whoever understands it earns it, and whoever doesn't understand it loses it. So this is pretty much what AutoFarm helps people with doing. It helps people with earning this compound interest. You can just leave the liquidity providing tokens within altruist staking platforms like AutoFarm, and rest assured that your tokens and your liquidity providing tokens and the overall asset amount that you have within this token is going to grow at exactly mathematically correct way. Because of course you can do it yourself, but then you would have to schedule it in such a difficult and complicated way, and also withdrawing the reward and then staking it again. Of course, you can do it yourself, but then you will have to pay for gas fees lots of times, and even with cheap blockchains like Binance Smart Chain. I mean, they're cheap, but if you do it often enough, it really it adds up. It adds up to some significantly higher costs that you would have on AutoFarm. Because on AutoFarm, we restake the rewards at benches, at scale. This is the most simple way, I think, to describe it, but this is how it works, and people are loving it. I personally loving it because every time on AutoFarm we have the token that I personally believe in, like TON or GMT or BOT, I would just go and stake it there because, like, why not? Why would they just be sitting idle in my wallet? And yeah, speaking of the AutoFarm, we were really impressed by the results of listing BOT, your token, because it didn't take like more than 3 days for it to reach $1 million cap, and this is great. This is again my congratulations to you guys, because given the fact that you're still in the process of development of your first projects and products, and with your primary project, I think it's the game, right? The card game.
Yeah, that's the main product, but the reason why it happened so fast is because, I mean, we have a loyal community base all the way back from when we were not even a startup. It was just an idea, and even like for the last 9 months, people have been asking, when can we stake? How can we stake? So as soon as it happened, that people were happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's really rare in the crypto market. I can say for myself, I've seen a lot in crypto market to have a token that doesn't really have a significant use case at this moment to be so popular among the community. I mean, this is really cool. So your main goal right now is to deliver really a great project, this game, and I personally really looking forward to the first alpha or beta versions of your game, because I really like Hearthstone. I love Hearthstone. I used to be a heavy Hearthstone player, and actually I've researched the market of GameFi games in blockchain and really never found a cool card game in blockchain. Because there've been some instances, but they were all pretty sick. So I really hope that you know what you're doing.
I think the main problem with that is that I've tested out and I've seen some card games on this market as well. They miss the point. The reason why Hearthstone is popular and Pokemon, they're popular because those are not just cards, right? They're built on the lore, like World of Warcraft lore or Pokemon lore. So you have some sort of emotional attachment, and that is why like we really try to focus on the lore as well, because
you mean
no
design?
Not just design, like the story behind the characters that are on the cards. So like it can be in form of cutscenes, like you have to deliver the story, right? So on this market, you have to show the money, you have to show how people are going to be able to make profit from it, otherwise they're going to go and play Hearthstone. But you do also have to bring that emotional attachment to the characters. I played many card games, and only only some of them are able to do that. Most of them they do have cool designs, but cool design is fun for a couple of weeks. But then if you don't have emotional attachment, there's nothing bringing you back. So
don't you think that the primary emotional touch that Hearthstone has is this Worldcraft world story? Because everyone, the Blizzard and all the Worldcraft world, it is how long?
Oh yes, absolutely.
25 years.
Even like personally, when I was playing Hearthstone, it really motivated me to actually spend money on the game because I wanted a specific deck, I wanted specific cards. For example, I didn't want to have what's this called? There's like I don't want Hunter to be I forgot his name. But basically, I wanted to collect Sylvanas because there was emotional attachment. There's a reason why I wanted to spend money because I played WoW before and I really wanted to have her. So you see that motivates people to actually spend time on the game, spend years on the game. And even when you spend years on the game and you quit, you know that you're coming back. Maybe it's going to be in a few months or in a year, but you're coming back to play it again because you'll be looking for those same emotions. And not a lot of games are able to execute. So yeah, 100% it's based on the lore. If the storyline isn't there, then on this market, that it becomes playing to earn, not playing and earning. And playing to earn is like it's like going to your regular job, but it's just a little bit more fun because your end goal is always playing and earning money. So yeah, that's what we want. We want to avoid that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you, that I wouldn't really agree with you at that point that the lore is the main thing, because as you've already discussed with Vlad, with our CEO in the Russian AMA, the main point is, of course, to allow people to earn money, and to allow people earn money at a competitive rate compared to other games. So this is going to be rocket science for you. This is a real challenge, and we really wish you success in that because it's really difficult.
Thank you. But enough about us, because I mean our community knows about us. We speak with them often. You did mention that it wasn't always MarsDAO. So the question that I do have for you is why DAO, and what is so special about it, and where do you see the future with it, or if you see one? So what's your opinion on that?
Well, we see this trend ongoing across all the realms and dimensions of crypto to decentralization, because crypto in the very beginning it started off as a decentralized way to do finances across borders and in the world, in the black market, etc. But then I think the whole industry moved towards the centralized stuff for, I think, the simple reason that very few people had enough level of understanding of technical of what underlies below the surface that they see, and it was really difficult for people to make out in like where are their tokens really held, like do they really possess these bitcoins that they had in their wallet or no. So then the whole market moves to the centralized era, we would say, but now we see a clear trend towards DeFi, which has started back in the DeFi summer of 2020. Then the hype kind of withered away, but even though it withered away, it never really gone away from us, because we can see across all the data and statistic and historical part of DeFi that the total value locked amount is rising, the number of most importantly, the number of venture investments is rising, that goes directly into DeFi. So DAO is pretty much the epitome of this whole decentralization trend, where people really, what's the main goal of decentralization and DAO is to make people own their tokens, right? Not to see a pixels on the screen by logging into their account, but to actually hold them. To rest assured that their tokens and their stakes and deposits and assets, they cannot be stolen from them by us, by creators of those projects, right? Because even Binance, we know that from a technical standpoint, Binance can shut down like tomorrow. I mean, I can only imagine what the consequences of that will be, but it is possible. Whereas with Pancake, just for people to understand, I'm sure some of your, most of your audience understands, but this is just the way it works. And Binance can shut down, whereas Pancake, which is also built on Binance Smart Chain, if it shuts down tomorrow, nothing happens to your coins. I mean, something will surely happen to the rate of their coins, right? Because the domino effect will happen, just like it happened with Luna, right?
Yeah, but it's not. I think we're for everything being decentralized as well, and I think even like on the individual level, you have your decentralized wallets where you keep your funds, but when you're keeping your funds on, like, let's say Binance, because you use Binance as an example, not even Binance shutting down itself, but Binance you can wake up tomorrow and they can shut down your account. And
I mean,
you don't know the reason.
Tell me about it. I'm one of those victims.
Oh, yeah. You want to speak about it?
No, I don't really. I don't speak. I mean, I understand why. I just realized when all this anti-Russian tendency started to happen after the war, I mean, they were just taking all the Russians, not really identifying whether this Russian relates in any way to sanction lists of people, and they would just go to all the Russians. And I mean, lucky for the people who have just got their accounts blocked and they were able to withdraw their funds, but because this is what happened to most of the people. But for the people that had a long history of large-scale transactions, like in my instance, they would just block the account and send me, "Yo, sorry, with your transfers were suspicious. We have like a suspicion that you helped some sanctioned people." And so, speaking of the centralization sucks. Even though it is still at this point cheaper, even to trade on decentralized exchange. We all know that. I mean, it's not like heavily cheaper, but sometimes it goes up to 0.5%. And with large sums, 0.5% matters, especially if you do it often. But I think that we are steadily moving towards those fees and differences between centralized crypto and decentralized be balanced out. I think that it's not going to take long for us, for the community, to see that decentralized holding and trading is not even. Sometimes it may be even cheaper. But at this time, we are still at the stage of development that it is more expensive. Bridging is expensive, right? Because you can bridge by using your centralized exchange account, but then you can never be sure that you will get your money on this other side, in this other blockchain. You can use bridges, but it's costly. It's costly the same at this time. But the most of the developers across all the blockchains right now are working towards DeFi. So, which is why we picked DAO. We used the DAO. And speaking of its prospects, I think that DAO is going to be just as decentralized crypto will develop, DAO will develop as well, will follow suit. And people are loving our choice, by the way. Although for most of them it was kind of hard to learn to use Web3 because some of our audiences are just like old school guys who are just used to like the most difficult thing for them was just remembering the email and login and password and have those buttons to like withdraw, deposit, trade, swap, etc. But now they would have to do it to learn it from scratch. But I mean, it's always a useful thing to learn something new. So they really loved it. Also, TCM Academy helped them with them because there are lots of courses for newbies in DeFi in TCM Academy. But so now we see that people are they're starting to really value this our move to DAO.
And I do think, like, because I do see some people still like supporting the centralized product. I think centralized product, like for example, again, if you look at Binance, KuCoin, the problem is that they're very, very convenient and very easy to use, and so people often choose them, especially people who are more old school, and they defend their position, but they defend it until they haven't been hit. If the moment, like I said, you wake up and your account is gone and you can't get it back, and you have some money there. Yeah, that's centralized product for you.
There's also one more very important advantage of centralized exchanges and centralized crypto against decentralized is that in case let's say you are a very green, from all text standpoints, from operational standpoints, you're like a Swiss guy who has his accounts with a couple of tens of millions of euros in crypto, like in USDT. And you know that you will never have problems with Binance. I mean, you're almost sure. If you hold them on your wallet and it gets hacked for some reason, by maybe broken Wi-Fi, you know, right, how it's all done, or you hold them on the cold wallets, and we know that that there is a share of all the cold wallets in the world that are scammed, that are pre-programmed, you know that. And when you wake up one morning and you see all your money gone, there's just simply no one to inquire, right? You can call blockchain and say what happened, because you were just being stolen. Whereas if you hold them on the centralized exchange, if you wake up and your money is gone, you just go to the support and they will recover it. And even the exchange is hacked, like we had with Binance, with this. I'm not remember how much was it, 70 million or I guess $70 million. I think it was 3 years ago when Binance was hacked. It just approved the fact that it was hacked. Then this famous term has emerged that we use up until today, hashtag SafeFul, right? It was introduced back then during this Binance hack, because CZ just popped up in the audience and said, yeah, we were hacked, but the funds are safe. Not funds of any user was stolen. It was just stolen from the cold wallets of Binance. So this is the advantage. I can say, yeah, it's understandable why some people, especially with large sums of money, they still tend to use centralized exchanges versus decentralized wallet. But I don't know where it goes.
Yeah, really. There's some, I mean, there's a lot of potential for decentralized products for the future. It's still young. I mean, the crypto market as a whole is still young. People, it might feel like it's been around for a while, but it's still super, super young. So I think going further, I mean, if we keep improving upon it, decentralized products will be taking over. We just need to add more sense of security, because like you said, if it's gone, it's gone, and there's no one you can contact. But if we add the sense of security and we protect the people who are using those products, we find a way, right, to keep it decentralized, but also bring that sense of security, then I think it will be taking over.
One of the way of adding the sense of security is building your own wallets, like you did in BOT, in BOT Planet, and like we did in MarsDAO, because we have MarsDAO wallet that is used by over, I think, in the last estimates, it was over 40,000 users monthly. I'm not sure, monthly or daily, but yeah, I think 40,000 monthly users. And this is the way of trying to letting people rest more assured that their funds are safe in the decentralized wallet, because
well, it's going back to what we discussed earlier. When you see, before you start your project, you see other products and you find the flaws within them, so you're trying to make a better one. So with our wallet, the same thing. Like if something happens with your bot tokens and you're using MetaMask or Trust wallet, there's like nothing we can do about it, because if something happened with your wallet. But then at least if something happens with your tokens and you're using bot wallet, you know where to contact us, because
at least you know who's guilty.
Yes, kind of. Just to keep things going, I also want the people to know about the products that you have coming up next, for the long term and for the short term, like the products that you want to put out there.
The closest to the launch are NFT marketplace is one of the. I'm not sure about the stage that they're at. I know that the launchpad, the MarsDAO launchpad is going to be a really cool thing, because it's very similar to Binance launchpad, and I'm not sure if you know that MarsDAO is also doing a lot of venture investing into startups in crypto that we have that we find promising, and so we're going to have to help all of them with launching their tokens on our launchpad, delivering the idea behind their projects, like whether that be gameplays or tokenomics, etc., delivering to the people and giving this sort of. I mean, when you're helping the project with your own launchpad, you're basically putting a mark quality to that, right? Because you're safe for this project. It's not a scam. It's not going to scam, and that it's also not enough to not just be scam. You have to be smart. You have to find the perfect timing for launching of your projects, the right economics, understanding of how you're going to find your customer, and of course, when speaking to the startups that we support, it doesn't really take long for us with our experience to see whether they're just foolish, optimistic guys, or they just got something right, and they are doing something right, and they are going in the right direction. So yeah, the launch part is going to be cool. The NFT marketplace, as I think most of people are now doing, there are also, some types of NFTs that will be posted there. We cannot disclose them just now because there are some projects that we're really invested in, and it's going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool. This NFT in different traditional markets. And also, yeah, speaking of the plans, really should just clarify with the team whether there are more of them. But you can always check them on DAOMars.com. DAOMars.com is our website, and there you will see all the coming projects and products that we have.
Yeah, I already, while we're waiting for you to connect and fix the situation, I did tell the people that we've met with you guys a lot in person, and we do really love that you share the same ideas as we do. And with the NFT marketplace as well, we see a lot of great potential in the NFTs. And we also see a lot of problems with NFTs. So, for example, I personally do hate the way that NFTs are today. They're pretty much the same images with it's either apes or pandas or foxes or Shiba Inus. It's all pretty much the same, and they don't have utility. So for me personally, because I used to play video games, for me, NFTs would be something like skins in CSGO, or something that you actually own and you can sell and trade. Or if you took the OG Pokemon with those physical cards and you have them as NFTs, you can play with them, you can sell them, you can trade them. So something that you can use to actually bring profit to you daily, something that you can get attached to and have fun with, and something that you can collect, not just you're basically buying an NFT, putting it as your profile picture, and that's it. So yeah, I see a lot of potential, and that's why we want to have our game and our marketplace as well. And the same reasons you said you want to have your marketplace as well, because when you do have your own product, you're responsible for it, and you're executing your vision. So
yeah, also keep in mind that it's really not that simple with in-game NFTs, because, for example, in games like Hearthstone, if you donated enough money, you would have the gameplay advantage over other players. And for some reason, people accepted this idea and were like, okay. And if I lose to a donator, we use this term, the donator. I just feel like, yeah, that's okay. He's invested more than me, which is like, for example, in other games, a lot of other games, skins, they are supposed to be just beautiful, but they are not supposed to amend in any way the gameplay, you see. Whereas in Game 5, in the projects that, for example, you're starting to build, you should just make people realize that donating is good, and it's just an integral part of the gameplay. So if you invested more, you would have won. Also, it's really interesting. Your game will be somewhat similar to Axie Infinity in a way that it's a competition game. For example, like other games like Stepan.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, so people are competing against each other with their card decks, and whoever has a better card deck wins the others. So it's going to be really frustrating for someone else, for the loser to realize that he has just not invested enough. So it's going to be a challenge for you to make your community accept this whole idea, because a lot of people hate this idea.
For us, we basically see that nothing you can do about it. Like, for example, if somebody came into our game and they invested, let's say, $10,000, and then you have other people who invest like $100 into the game. So to kind of balance it out, we connect the amount that you invested and the value of your deck. to the ranking system again as well, because of course it will be unfair if somebody who spent 10K on the game and somebody who spent $100 is they're playing against each other, and the guy is basically farming in-game tokens free, let's say, because his deck is just so much stronger. So you have to. It's extremely difficult, especially with gaming. A lot of things that we test daily, and we're trying to make sure that it's balanced as much as possible. So the same way, if you look at like free-to-play games like Dota 2, it will basically mean that somebody who is a tier 1 player is playing against people with like low MMR rank. It doesn't make sense. So you do have to balance it out.
Yeah, which is why in games like Dota 2, for example, skins there just for the sake of beauty. They do not affect the gameplay in any way. This is different, and we can only imagine how challenging it is for your game dev team to calculate all those balancings of the difference of the decks and the amounts invested to really not get people frustrated by losing to someone who is predominantly like better than him.
Yeah,
really good. Because we are also building one of the games. It's not PvP. It's not hard. It's not actually even a game, but it's a very cool NFT project, and we have less of a challenge to calculate how people would earn in this game. For you, it's going to be really difficult, which is why we are waiting for a game to come up very much.
Yeah, and I have a couple of questions that I still have to ask you. But before we do so, I want to really ask you, like, what is the global mission for you, for MarsDAO? What do you see for the future of you? And then we'll talk a bit about our partnership as well.
Well, our global mission is obviously the mass adoption of crypto, because we see it as an inevitable thing. I think you've seen a lot of statistics of comparing of how the internet users growth was taking place in the beginning of 21st century, and how the amount of crypto users is growing at a very similar resenting pace. And I think that we're pretty sure that in 10 years, I mean, the number of crypto users in the world might skyrocket up to, I don't know, 500 million, maybe 1 billion. And so it's just a matter of when, and just a matter of who will join first, and who will be able to earn money in that, and who will be able to not lose to not lose the money, like, first of all. So mass adoption is our primary goal, primary task, and the challenge that we see for ourselves. Whereas speaking of my prospects towards us, a couple of weeks ago, the CEO of Morgan Stanley came up to the station and said that we are now living through the most unpredictable age throughout the last 30 years, starting from the collapse of the Soviet Union. And I am personally agree with him. I mean, come on, do you see what's happening around us? It's really hard to predict. I can make any predictions about us, about the market, etc., but it's just going to be shooting from the hip. Just shooting from the hip.
Well, I think you can. Making predictions is silly. You can make predictions, but actually saying that it's going to be this way or that way is silly. But what I do for myself and what I tell people is always look at the history, because it does repeat itself often. And especially when you look at like the graph of the market and everything, just open up a full picture. Don't look at the last few weeks or the last few months. If you look at crypto as a whole, it's the history often repeats itself. Some new things do come up, like for example, you saw what happened with Luna. I think it's the first time the token of that scale collapsed.
Mm-hmm. That was really large. That was really large compared to the whole market.
So yeah, that's basically new, but for the most part, in general, the history does repeat itself. And the history tells us that stay calm. It's just another crypto winter. We'll see probably the next one in the next couple of years, next 3 to 4 years, I don't know. But the grass is going to be greener. So it's always nice to understand what's happening, stay calm, and just be prepared for any sort of scenario. So yeah, that's the way I personally like to approach things.
Yeah, and also I wouldn't really be so sure that the crypto winter has started with this Luna fall and the subsequent BTC fall, because for most of the time, the charts that I was looking at for the amount of venture money invested by venture capitalists throughout the world into blockchain, and the last 2 quarters we've seen their record highs throughout the history. So when serious guys are investing into crypto, they don't want this market to crash right after they invested. And also, of course, there is this the most really relevant indicator is the percentage of all BTC holders in the world who are in profit. So when it reaches a certain threshold of somewhere around 75, then crypto winter starts, and it's natural. But we are far from that. Actually, most of the BTC holders in the world are in the loss, and no one's willing to fix the losses. So it's just my positive forecast. But again, as I told before, you cannot really predict what's going to happen, even in the nearest future.
Yeah. So moving on to the partnership, like I said, I do have a question for you, but I want to give my answer as well to it, so that people in our community also know where we stand as Bot Planet and what do I think about it as well. So what can people expect from our partnership? What do you expect from our partnership? And why do you think it has great potential? Well, just to tell our community, personally, like I said on the second day after we launched the project, the biggest mistake that we've ever made as Bot Planet is we tried to build the community and advertise our products and our token in a sort of degenerate way. We try to bring as many people as possible without realizing that it's best to have smart community. And what I can easily tell about MarsDAO is that your community is smart, especially with the TTM Academy that you have. The people who are coming out of it, they really have the understanding of what's happening. And the smart community is always calm. So now we're able to kind of build that community. We're having more conversations with our people. And even on this market, people are affected by it, but because they are smart, they're the smart community, they do have the understanding of what's happening. So aside from the partnership and staking that we have and all the technical stuff, I really admire the fact that you guys take your time to educate your people, and you provide knowledge to them, aside from just telling them, hey, here's the token, buy it, you can do this, and that.
Yeah, go open it.
Yeah. So what's your opinion? What do you think about the partnership, and why does it have great potential?
Yeah, we're sure that the main reason is that we talk to you in person, and believe me, we talk in person to a lot of startups, and we filter out the good ones, and they just simply foolishly optimistic ones really fast. And what we realized when we're talking to you guys, it's especially incredible given how old you are, at least 2 co-founders, is that you know what you're doing, that you know what you're doing, that you've got just the right pace and just the right timing for this, especially the game. I personally admire the idea of doing it, first of all, finally the first successful game. And yeah, speaking of promoting your token, the partnership staking is not the only way that we promoted it and allowed our community to learn more about your project and the game, another project that you built. And I know there's the DEX, right? The DEX, the NFT marketplace, the wallet, the inbuilt chat, lots of it. Also, there were private sales of bot token in TTM Invest Club. TTM Invest Club is a subsidiary of TTM Academy with a premium-based subscription, where we are sharing and exchanging ideas with, I would say, the smartest guys in the sphere among our community. And so there were private sales of your tokens. Some of them are, I'm not sure whether they're locked technically. I think no, but I just know that those are the people that really long-term holders, and they are not selling once they see that they have like 2x, 100% profit, and they just go ditch the price. So yeah, this I really believe that our partnership will be prolific and productive throughout the following years.
Yeah, it's very, like, I agree 100%, and I think it's, especially in crypto, because it's not moderated. It's not what was the correct word?
Governance.
Yes, exactly. So in crypto, the most important thing is having trust, and we can't say that about every single partner that we talk to, because we have conversations on Zoom calls. We can have a quick call on Telegram or whatever. But I can say this about a lot of partners where we actually spend a lot of time sharing the knowledge and sitting down on the table together and having those discussions. So for us, because trust is so hard to find, it's very important to us that we managed to find you guys, and we managed to like stay in contact, and it's more than just a partnership. And I do think I don't think that I see that you guys are building your English-speaking global community as well. I think it's very important that our people go and check you guys out. Because by check you guys out, I mean not just MarsDAO, TTM Academy, like the story behind it and everything, and it's really incredible. So I love what you guys are doing, and I for the future, because we have products coming out, you have products coming out as well. I hope that we continue to work together, and I think we can bring a lot more partnerships, like because right now it's for the staking, but we can do more cool things in the future when we release more products.
Yeah. Just can just the same about our partnership. I think that within the frameworks of this partnership, we will help to navigate you through this market with the experience that we have and all the losses that we have. But whereas you are going to help us with finding to be the first to find the new waves of interest, the new hypes, and I mean, with more flexibility that you have on your team, given the fact that how young you are and how much success you've gained throughout this so short, so brief period of time, I think this partnership is going to be beneficial, because in all the teams there got to be some old wise guy and the young smart guy. This is, I think, what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I agree. And also, it's all about the mistakes and bumps on the road, because I've spoken with your CEO as well, and there were a lot of bumps on the road, but you guys kept going, improving, changing it up, and now you're still here. And we are still fairly young, but we had bumps on the road. And we saw examples of projects where the founders and the CEO, they basically on the first bump they quit. Like they cash out and they quit. So it's very important that we have people on the market who continue to go forward, even with the small or big bumps on the road.
Yeah, that's where we can assist you, at least theoretically, but also practically, of course.
Thank you. Perfect. So I don't have any more questions. I think it was great, and actually, I think we can have those discussions more often. Aside of just being an AMA, I think it's great to keep your community updated, our community updated, and we can share our views and your experience too. I think people will like that.
Yeah, right. We're going to end with the most stupid question throughout this AMA from me. Could you please ask your community manager why he picked the Marshall Islands national flag when indicating MarsDAO in this announcement on your Twitter?
I'm going to ask. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe he's on Mars on this flag, but that's weird.
That's wait a second.
Marshall Islands national flag. For indicating MarsDAO. Just wonder why. This is the first instance that we have this emoji indicating us.
I just saw. I'm not sure why. Okay. I'm going to have to double check.
Yeah, let me know that after the CMA on Telegram.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask
you very much for your time.
It's actually very funny.
Thank you for your time. Thanks to Botland's community. We are again really looking forward to the first versions of your game. I'm eager to play it because I'm one hell of a gamer, especially when it comes to Game 5. So all the best luck to you, and yeah, of course, we should do AMAs more often.
Perfect. All the best to you as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.